Madam Minister, thank you very much. I would now like to hand over to the Minister for the Interior. There are a number of issues that he will have to clarify. So, Minister, the floor is yours. Prime Minister, thank you very much. As of Monday, freedom of movement will be back in effect. People will be able to move around freely in the streets without a certificate, no matter what department or what area you live in, with the exception of Mayotte, of course. That being said, the virus does not travel alone. And therefore, we will have to try and do our utmost to avoid travelling during the coming weeks. As Elizabeth Bon just mentioned, the virus will be most easily spread in public transport, and this is why unnecessary contact will be fined. We obviously have a number of fines that have already been brought in place, and they will continue to be applied, €135. For public transport, local government are the first ports of call for those bodies that have to ensure the correct measures are being put in place and ensure that people are being fined if they do not respect those measures. The Interior Ministry will continue to provide 20,000 additional policemen and women to police those areas, those public transport areas, to ensure that the rules are being abided by. And if they see anyone violating those rules, then they will be fined. Again, we have to stem the spread of the virus, and therefore, people will not be allowed to travel beyond further than 100 kilometers from their home unless they have a compelling reason or for work. A work reason is, for example, if they work in an industry where they have to travel, a truck driver or lorry driver, for example. A compelling reason, family reason, is to provide assistance to someone who is vulnerable, or if you need to provide assistance in a time of mourning. Again, the 100-kilometer limit is only applicable if you are in your department where you reside in. You can move beyond the department as long as you respect the 100-kilometer radius. Here is a certificate, a travel permit. It's very simple. You can fill it out either in paper form or digitally, and you can download it from the Interior Ministry website. And these are also available in certain airports, certain train stations, bus stations, and they are essential. If you are checked while you're in a car, either you have traveled further than 100 kilometers from your point of residency, and therefore you must have this certificate on you, or you are traveling for a distance less than 100 kilometers, and if you have your insurance certificate or a bill to show your residency address, then that should suffice. Again, we call on everyone's sense of civic responsibility in these times. The fine remains the same, €135, and it may increase if you are a repeat offender. The aim here is to try and back to a regular social life, all the while respecting the current confinement. Therefore, museums, certain libraries will be able to open. Again, those areas where we can limit the entry to those spaces. We will have to put in special measures for those areas. However, cinemas, social venues, concert venues, covered sport venues will remain closed. In terms of sport venues, only those sporting activities that are carried out individually and outdoors will be authorized. In terms of commercial activity, meetings will have to be limited to 10 people at most, again while ensuring social distancing is possible. A new limit on those meetings may be envisaged in the near future. Until the month of September, large events will not be able to be organized. There are a number of questions for beaches, lakes, and other areas. Again, these areas will remain closed. However, regional prefects will be able to allow certain authorizations to these areas, again, if the local mayors will authorize it and ask for it. This is to ensure that mayors are fitted with enough equipment to be able to ensure social distancing in those areas. This is why we have to have constant open dialogue between mayors and local prefects. We are acutely aware of the need for a number of religious orders to be able to organize a number of events. There was a meeting of local religious leaders, and the Prime Minister has also been in contact with them, and we will meet with all religious leaders to try and find ways of ensuring religious ceremonies to go ahead with certain members of the congregation by the end of the month. But this is an ongoing debate. In terms of borders, the rules remain the same. We have to ensure social distancing and protection. In terms of entering and leaving the European area, there will be a progressive easing of those rules, and only when the health situation permits it. And this will be agreed to by all concerned states. Until then, borders will remain closed. As for national borders that we have with our European neighbours, we have decided to extend the current restrictions until the 15th of June at the earliest. Those cross-border workers will be able to continue to work, as it has always been the case since the beginning of this current health crisis. The current draft law that is being voted on by the Parliament will bring in a compulsory 14-day quarantine for anyone who does not fit in one of those previous categories who crosses one of France's borders, even if it is within the Schengen space. While we do have certain measures applied by a number of our European neighbours, we will have to continue to check on those measures to see if they're compatible with French measures. This is why we will continue to have to ensure that there are checks carried out at European borders when people enter European soil. Maybe in the future we will have to have any travel between European countries. For those European citizens who have a compelling economic reason to travel, they will have to have a certificate to be able to do so, and this is in particular for those seasonal workers for the agricultural industry. Again, everyone has to make use of their good sense of responsibility and civicism. A majority of our citizens know what needs to be done. The very small level of fines that have been handed out, 60% of people have been fined, is a testament to how we can abide by the rules and how we can act responsibly. And this is why with prefects and sub-prefects, we have seen them working with local mayors to see that our lockdown strategy has worked, and it is thanks to them that has been able to bear its fruit. Again, we have a common goal, and that is to see this lockdown to its logical end. Thank you, Minister. I would now like to hand over to the Minister for the Economy and Finance, who has a number of